Welcome back to the For Purpose Podcast. My name is Jaden Boyce. Alongside me is John Hinsman. No guest this time, getting close to the holidays, so tough to get a guest on. But first off, you're probably wondering, hey, where'd you get this nice sweatshirt from? Where'd you get this nice little hoodie from? Schwannies, our friends at Schwannies hooked us up with this. It's about to be, we're going to be selling these soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, let us know your size, your style. We got some new stuff coming out. Obviously, we're brand new, so we always got new stuff coming out, right? We're just figuring it out.
Everything's new at this point. But yeah, thank you to Schwannies. And yeah, John, you want to start us off with what today's episode is going to be about and what the path we're going with today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So we're just kind of spitballing today, just kind of rolling through things with the holiday season upon us. We're talking about our purpose, how we met and how we connected. Obviously, we're on camera, two different people. How can this older guy, younger guy, different cultures connect? And so let's talk about our story. How we first connected and where we started there, and then go down the path for our purposes and where we're ending up.
And I think, John, we have to start off with a lot of people don't know. I don't know if people do know. We are neighbors. And the first time, I don't even really remember this, but me and my two other brothers would be at the end of the road and we'd always throw rocks at cars. Believe it or not, we would throw rocks at vehicles coming by. And one time you and Tara were driving by and we threw rocks at y'all. My oldest brother, he left us, me and my brother. And you were just like, hey, stop throwing these rocks. We're going to tell your parents and all this. I was like, whoa, who are these guys? And whatever. And then it was during COVID. Then fast forward, I don't even know how many years, a lot of years after, it was COVID-19. And my dad saw y'all like doing hills and stuff around here. He's like, Jaden, what are you doing? I was like, I'm not doing anything. He's like, hey, you want to go run with them? And I was like, yeah, sure. So my dad drove me up. I introduced myself. It's weird introducing myself when we've been neighbors for my entire life and stuff, but I did. And then, after that, the rest is history. Did the whole shed crew, went to Central, and yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Small town, Hatchville, Wisconsin, which isn't even on a map. It's Hatchville.
No, nobody knows that.
Yeah. Who knows about Hatchville? So, and I remember that night, Tara and I were driving down the road, and I actually had a newer truck at the time. And all of a sudden I see rocks coming, I'm like, stop. And like 3 kids hanging out in the ditch, like, who are these guys? And so anyways, as many people aren't aware, when COVID shut everything down, we had one of our sheds on the farm here that we turned into a facility. And, through a lot of support, we were able to grab equipment before the schools were shut down and set that up in the shed. And so, we kept our 6 foot social distancing all the time, right? And it was working through that process. And we started with, I think it was 3 young men. It was Carson, Trevor Asher, Luke Wolf, and Luke Webb, actually 4. And then, it was cold out, man. It was cold. We were working the shed, no heat, nothing like that, working kids out, getting exercise and stuff going. And then we, continued to evolve and continue to grow. But then, your dad stopped over one day, introduced you, and we got to know each other and got to meet each other and, share a passion for sports and helping people and working together. And, we've done, I would say, a number of cool experiences through the years with that. So, as you look back and we talk a little bit about the experience that we've had, you went to Central, graduated this past year. Currently, where are you at and what are you doing?
At Green Bay, University of Green Bay, Phoenix right now. Right now just doing a lot of broadcasting. That's what I going to school for, broadcast journalism. So I do a lot of the ESPN Plus broadcast for the university, men's soccer, women's volleyball, and I do camera work and then press conferences for basketball going on right now.
For sure. Yeah. So, and my stories, I grew up here. I was born and raised here in Hatchville. Left for a little while, got the opportunity to go play college basketball. Went overseas for New Zealand, not very long. I found out pretty quickly I was not a Kiwi. I didn't fit in well down there. And, just kind of realize you get to a point in your life like, that's not what I want to do. And grew up, came back, started teaching and coaching and got back into the farming piece as well. And I still do that yet today. And so I still teach, and my coaching now is from a different perspective as far as working kids out and exercising and working the mind as much as the body, focusing on that piece and really trying to help people find a purpose. And I think today's society, and Coach Simple mentioned this a little bit, is, how do we continue to help people find their purpose and work through that? Because it's challenging, because you and I had the opportunity last night. We were at Ohio State, for the football game, and you see 105,000, 103.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, 104. I think I got to something like that.
Yeah, you see that number of people, and you see that opportunity for people to be in front of people, and then throw the media and all their stuff on top of that. It's an experience that a lot of people, and I would say even a lot of parents, what their kids experience. But it's a challenge. It's really a challenge in today's society, and you can get lost easily in that time. So from your experiences in sports and where you're at, I mean, what are some of your biggest challenges you take away from that?
I'm gonna start high school sports off. Biggest challenges I think for myself, and I see with a lot of other athletes, is mentally the mental game's more than half of the game right there that I've seen. And I guess the confidence wise for me, I mean, I had no confidence going in every single sport, and I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone, but I think what you don't see now with coaching is kind of now it's all about, okay, the X's and O's, let's play chess against other teams. What I witnessed and what I wish I witnessed was more coaches focusing more on players' mentalities, their mental health, caring about like their confidence, building that up. Like Stipple was saying last week, I don't think we see that anymore. I think that's been a struggle for me. I know you've seen plenty of athletes just have no confidence, and that's a killer. I mean, that can really flip how you play. I think that's probably the main thing. If I could go back in time and just do high school all over again, high school sports, like mentally focus on that confidence wise. I mean, it just helps you out so much. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
100%. I mean, and you get past that, obviously your age, you experience sports right now. I'm getting closer to 50, and, my kids are all coming through now. I got 2 in college, 1 in high school. And so you look at that piece and say, how can I help them from my perspective, build their confidence in a society at this time when there are so many people that want to take their confidence away. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to do because you can flip on social media, and I'm not a social media hater. I check it out. I watch it. I like it. I post on it, and check things out and try to see what's going on. But it's like I feel at times I tell my kids this a lot of people would rather see you fail than succeed. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that the hard way a lot of times is success comes from being able to block people out. And there's a lot of people, and I think Tara, my wife, says this quite often, is everybody wants what nobody sees. Mm-hmm. And so, we've talked about this often as well, as a lot of times people will hate on you for putting the extra work in. I think the word is try hard.
That's right. Sweat.
Yeah. So you get people that will challenge you because it's easier to attack you and bring you down mentally and try to bring you to a level where they're at. And, I've told some people this. I said, if you start helping people up and promoting them, it's going to raise yourself higher as well. And so that's my focus is now is, again, through my purpose is trying to say, how do we help people out? And I don't care if you're an athlete. I don't care if you're a grown adult. I don't care if you're, moving down the road of in a different direction. I think that too often we look at people and say, well, they're different, so I can't help them. I don't agree with that. I think sometimes when you find somebody who's different, it can actually open your eyes so much more. Mm-hmm. And we go back to where we were last night, and we talked about the number of trips that we've gone on. I think back to one of the trips we went down to Iowa, and we helped during the storm, the Direcco storm down there. And we drove down, and there was a young girl, remember, that was set up the whole mm-hmm. station, and she was running the whole thing. And she couldn't be over 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, she was young.
And so, and they put us out on this gentleman's farm, and we just talk about the things we did, and the experiences we had. And I think those experiences drive you more into, one, as you talked about, mental confidence, but also just living a life of purpose and trying to figure out what makes you happy.
Yeah, that was a fun trip going. I think it was me, Noah Nussbaum, mm-hmm. Carson, you, and then Jaden Goodwin. And we went there, and this guy, Ed, you still got Ed's contact and stuff. I want him to listen to this, but we go there. This guy, it was like 95 degrees out. It was steaming out. And this guy, Ed, he comes out with the thing of hot coffee. It had to be like 2 p.m. He's like, hey, anybody want coffee? And so we're like, dude, it's 95 degrees out. Oh, that was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I wonder if he still has a baby blue Volkswagen Beetle.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. The guys were looking at that pretty hard, but and again, it's like, the people you meet, and Ed's dad had to be in his 90s on the roof, replacing roof shingles and doing that stuff. And you're standing there, and I'm standing there watching this guy, and like, holy cow. And but just the stories. And I think sometimes is we lose so much out of experiences, you know, and I know we're spitballing here, but you know, this morning I got another conversation with neighbor Sarah Asher over here. You know, we're talking about that is, are we rushing people through life? And she's talking about books she's reading, and we're talking about that as far as, you know, kids in school now. Let's hurry up and get them to college. Let's hurry up and get them through school as quick as we can and get them on to where, you know. And Stipple was talking about that last episode as far as, you know, we're all going to be pushing up daisies, you know, before we know it. But are we in that big a rush to get there? You know, and you and I have had this conversation as far as kids going through school and just trying to experience it to full potential, and then getting out there and seeing like, okay, what can we do? You know, but just experience life to full potential. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about you and getting out there is seeing, okay, how do we get out here and who are we going to run into? You know, we talk about another thing we did is the jacket drives and the warm clothes drives that we've done for a number of years with Carson and yourself. And, you know, we just collect jackets and we go up to the cities and we drop them off at the donation center up there for the homeless. You know, remember that last year?
That was good. Yeah, that was a good time.
You know, we opened the truck up and just hundreds of thousands of people coming out. And remember the one gentleman that stood and talked to you guys for a while?
Yeah, he was talking to us for a while. Yeah, he had I forget everything. Like, he had a great story though, and yeah, we were trying to like do stuff, but like he talked to us for like 15, 20 minutes, and it was some of like the best conversation I've had with someone. And he was just like such an intelligent gentleman. I mean, he was just funny, cracking up jokes and stuff. That was just a great time.
Yeah, and those are things I look at is those moments in time that we can relate and connect and build those relationships and just dive more into like, hey, wait, where's this path taking me? You know, and where are we getting to? And so I really like that piece. I really enjoy that quite a bit because that just, for whatever reason, it just makes me connect with other people and it just opens the door to new experiences. And like I said, to start getting to my age, you're kind of like, okay, it's easy to get into a groove, which becomes a rut over time of this is what I do, this is how I do it. But I just love to get out there and experience different things and see different things and try new things and say, okay, this doesn't feel comfortable, but what can I get out of it? So,
yeah, and I was just talking to my mom earlier, and yeah, because going on to the Rose Bowl next week, and I was talking to her about that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, how many other kids like are going to all these different places and stuff like this is like awesome that like we get to do it. And one of the stops we went earlier this year, we talk about it all the time, was Oregon. You know, going to Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, underrated place to go. Gotta go there. And like the people out there, the fans, I mean, everyone knows. I mean, your son plays for Ohio State. We're obviously rooting for Ohio State, but the Oregon fan base, probably the nicest fan base I've ever seen in my life. The moment we got there, we go to this Target and we walk into that Target and we had Ohio State stuff and everyone's like, oh my goodness, like, where are you guys from? All this, like, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is awesome. And then, yeah, during the game, everyone was talking to us. And then after the game, it was like we'd lost and they stormed the field. Maybe the biggest win in Oregon, like, regular season history.
Probably.
And we come out there and I was so mad because every single person was like, oh, that was a really good game, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this and all this. And they were so nice. I was like, y'all just beat us. Like, y'all can talk any crap you want. And they didn't. It was so funny. And like the trips like that, just like go out. Like you always are telling me, like, go out, see everything, like get out. I mean, Oregon's a place that I went to and I was like, I love this place. And you just gotta like, everyone talks about Midwest nice. Everybody pay attention to people in Oregon. They're nicer than people here. I'll say that straight up.
You know, and again, you get into that where you start, obviously people are passionate about their teams. And so sometimes it makes me kind of sick as far as stuff you see people post and put out there. But, you know, when the day is done, like I said, out in Oregon, we were staying at the store there, Tara and Brez were looking at some shirts or whatever. And those two guys that came up, graduated from there, hadn't been back in for a number of years. But we sat and had a conversation with those guys for 15, 20 minutes, you know, and just talking and just carrying on a conversation. Now they're passionate about Oregon. We were passionate about Ohio State, you know, but again, as we can break down the barriers and have a conversation, just talk like, okay, great. You know, tell me about your story. What's your story? You know, where you been? You know, and that's what intrigues me a lot about, you know, for you, Jaden, as you growing up, you know, as you start reaching that, you know, 19, 20, and you start getting to that point, you got a birthday coming next month too, right? You know?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to catch me pretty soon.
Don't worry about that.
No, I know. I won't hold my breath. But it's all cool stuff. It's like you start getting out and you start experiencing and seeing what's out there. And I think that's one of the things our society challenges people on at times. Like, well, just stay in your lane, do what you're supposed to do. And I get that to a point. You got to acknowledge, you got to respect what other people have going on. But sometimes I don't think people know what they can do. And that's one of the things we continue to grow this and talk about this is like, I want to help people find out what they can really do, and build that. And me, I challenge people, man. I challenge it when we're working out.
Just a little bit.
Let's get after it. We're going to do this. Let's do this. Let's make it happen, but I challenge people because I think it comes to the point is like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, you start in that groove and gets into a rut and turns into a grave. It's like, how do we get out of that? And I think it's important that people are challenged. I think it's important that myself, I get challenged. And I think you do that as well. You bring a different perspective because you'll send me a message. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, what are you talking about? And so it helps me learn, helps me grow, and helps me stay connected. And but those are the things I look at. And it's like, okay, how do we continue to share that? How do we continue to build that? So I hope people stay in touch, and just keep watching because there's gonna be some cool things coming on. And as we keep growing this, so
yeah, we're gonna have great guests on, like a ton of great guests, interesting stuff. I'm gonna just go back to all the workouts that we've done together, John. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, John. Like, I don't enjoy working out a ton. Like I enjoy staying in shape and stuff and all that, and I force myself to do it. But John, some of the workouts that you've put us through, oh my goodness! I mean, makes me want to cry and stuff. But the best parts are after, like, we all talking and like, oh, that was a great time and stuff. And I think that's part of that's part. I don't think a lot of schools are getting that as much anymore. I think we see a lot of people just like go do their own thing, if anything, like their private workouts and stuff like that, which is fine to a point. But I think one thing that doesn't get talked about enough anymore, I think it actually gets talked about, but doesn't get utilized enough, is culture. Yep. I think that is one thing. Everyone can talk about it, but you can talk about it as much as you want. But if you don't do it, if you don't show your actions, obviously no improvement. I think that's like one at the Shed in 2020. I mean, I was going to go to Elmwood to school there. And I just like the culture and these guys that I was like being friends with, and nothing wrong with Elmwood, great people there. But I was just like, I just was getting called, like, go somewhere else and see these other people. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. The relationships we've made, I've made with you, and it's been great. And it's been good.
And I want to give a shout out. I don't know if he listens, Dan Teese and Ethos, and what those guys do there, because that helped open my eyes too. I remember, Carson was, I think, a freshman in high school, and we went there and started working out a little bit. And we'll have to get Dan on here. Dan would be a great guy.
Oh, Matt too.
Oh yeah, Matty O. Yeah,
Matty O.
We get those guys on here and start having a conversation. But I think Dan, he does a good job with this culture, and he's somebody I really look up to as far as what he does. And but the workouts, and it's kind of one of the things I always talk about with the kids when we're done warming up or working out. High five somebody and tell them a good job. Kind of to your point though, is like you said, it's hard. It's really freaking hard. Mm-hmm. And some of these workouts they're meant to be hard, because I truly believe when you can drain yourself physically and you can find out where you are mentally, because those moments of time, they're going to be hard. Life is going to be hard. If anybody believes out there that my road has been nothing but smooth sailing, oh man, we got stories to share, man. We can talk for hours about things that I've done. And I've made choices that you come back on like, whoa, that was a wrong choice. That was a wrong decision. But then you also go back on and say, okay, God's put me in a place where I never knew I wanted to be, and I've made choices based on jobs where, man, like, why am I doing this? And why am I doing this right now? And I look back and reflect back on that, like, okay, at that time, I didn't know I wanted to do that. I didn't even know I needed that. Mm-hmm. But now I look back like, hey, I needed that. I needed to learn that. I needed to grow from that. I needed to experience that. And it's made me probably even more open to things. But, and that's just part of life, part of growing, and you talk about schools. Yeah. I mean, I graduated from Elmwood. Elmwood's been a great place. It helped out a lot. I even went back to Elmwood. I coached at Elmwood, and did basketball and stuff there, and had a great experience there too. And I think also it's kind of that point of there's nothing wrong with staying there, but it's also then how do you find out and explore what else is out there, and so that's what, our journey, I believe we're on, is trying to say, let's get out and explore a little bit more. Let's get out and see a little bit more. Let's bring in some people on here that, oh, wait, we didn't know what they've gone through or what they've done, and we're going to talk a lot of sports, because we love sports, but we also want to talk a lot about how do we show appreciation? How do we get back to like helping people grow and develop? Because, we want to utilize that. I mean, I think the opportunity for us to serve and give back and really, promote that is huge for us right now. And I think it's an opportunity that we can connect with other kids, young adults, old adults, whoever, because there's going to be somebody out there right now that's listening and saying, man, I'm struggling. I am, because I'm going to be honest, there are people out there that are struggling. It's a hard time of the year right now. You have Christmas coming up here in a couple of days. You have darker or shorter days, longer nights. You have people that turn to things that, hey, this will make you feel better. Have a few drinks or whatever. That's all people's choice and people's decision. But I think this can be a challenging time for people. And I think, for us, it's an opportunity to say, hey, we're here. We're here to help you. We're here for a purpose. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to give back and find that path and say, hey, let's help you. But yeah, so I don't know, man, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, like you said, winter time. Obviously, not my favorite time of the year. Skin gets a little dry all of a sudden.
Ashy?
Yeah, a little ashy. Yeah, but going back to that, I've been watching the show Duck Dynasty a little more. I've been listening to their podcast called Unashamed, and they talk about faith. They talk about all sorts of stuff with Duck Dynasty and how that's evolved and everything. And the thing that I like is they came out with a movie, I think a year or two ago. It's called The Blind. You probably never heard of it, but you should give it a watch if you can. And it was about Phil Robertson. He's the founder of Duck Dynasty and stuff, the dad. And he just went through like a struggling. He was alcoholic. He kicked his family out, actually. He went through so much stuff. He just lived in the woods, didn't talk to his family at all. And then it was this nice story about how there's a preacher at a bar one time who talked to him and made him understand like what faith's all about and stuff. And it's a great movie. Recommend watching it. And it just shows you that everyone has a bottom low spot, and it's awful, and everyone goes through it. And it's about, everyone's heard the saying, it's not about if you fall down, it's about how fast you can get back up and how good you can get back up and stuff. And I think everyone just needs to know you can't be too embarrassed by your lowest points, because everyone hits a lowest point. And it's about getting up and getting back up to your fullest.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's, and I agree 100%. I think that, and I think Coach Sipple said as well, is like, you remember the bad times because those are the times that change you into something different. Or maybe better said is they have the opportunity to change you to something different if you utilize that. And I think that, especially like I said, this time of the year, it's easy to say, well, if I get one more president, I'll be happy. If I get one more of this, I'll be happy. If I get one more of that, I'll be happy. And for me, it's like, I get that. I understand that. That, hey, giving, serving, helping, and making sure people have what they want or what they need. Those are two different things, though, as well. We got to recognize that. What you want versus what you need. And I think this is a time of the year. I also think it's a time in our society that trying to identify wants and needs are two different things, which are really hard because the line becomes blurred. You see people walk around with nice stuff or newer stuff or something different, and it's kind of like this kind of soaks into people's brains. So, no, I agree with you. I think I'll have to check out that movie. But I also think that today I was reading Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy every morning tweets out a blurb on the Bible. And this morning I was reading about that, and he was talking about, I believe, about in Luke, and it's not about if you're going to struggle. Kind of like your point. You're going to struggle. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen, And I got 2 days left, and I've read the full Bible. I'm kind of excited about that, man. Like, I've never thought I'd ever do this. I get 2 more days, and I'll finish the Bible. And there's a lot of points in there, I'll be honest, I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm like I read it back. I'm like, okay, I don't get this. But the one thing that I do understand is there's going to be challenges, and it's going to be hard. And I think sometimes is we get afraid of the hard. We get afraid of the challenges. Going back to what you said about the workouts. And one of the points is, I think about back our workouts is our finisher was always the river. Mm-hmm. And when we started the river, it was cold. It was freaking cold. And part of the purpose of getting in the river is the hard work we did. Get in there and run through it and use the cold water to help heal your body. And you look at now, you look at a lot of people out there like, I'm doing a cold water challenge. I'm going to jump in there. Man, we were 5 years early on that. But I think that's the piece I think a lot of times we lose in life is it's a challenge. It's not easy. And I think that's one of the biggest ahas I've had is, over my time is the challenges have been probably some of the highest points, I didn't like them, but it's really taking you back to another spot, and I'm sure more challenges come. They will. It'll happen. As I said, reading there this morning about Tony Dungy's like, people are going to have cancer. People are going to get sick. People are going to die. You're going to lose stuff. But when you can truly identify and give yourself and your faith and find your faith in God and truly live that life. Now I'm not perfect. I'm not going to lie. I'm still not. But is when you can truly live that faith and that purpose and that passion, you're going to have more good days than bad days.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, overcoming those obstacles, the challenges, tough. I've gone through some this year, and being off in college, it's a lot different. Going in Green Bay, it's not too far from here, but every once in a while, I will say, John, I'll be like, I just want to go back to Asheville. I ain't gonna lie, John. Sometimes, I do be missing Asheville a little bit, and I want to come back here because it's nice here. But it's been good. Faced a lot of challenges though. Mm-hmm. But one thing I will ask you right now, a little challenge here.
Good.
We've been to a lot of places. We've talked about this on many car rides and stuff. Mm-hmm. I just want you to share a little bit about some of your favorite, trips that we've gone on, different stadiums, different fan bases, we can say, that you've enjoyed a lot more than others.
Yeah. Well, I've gone a couple that you haven't gone on, so I'll think about those. But, obviously last year, going just down to Camp Randall, going down to experience that, where we had 40-some, 50-some people there, to go experience that. And, that was a great experience. A nighttime game at Camp Randall. If you haven't been there, you got to go check it out.
Gotta go check out Camp Randall.
Yeah, they'll jump around and stuff. So good experience. Any game in the shoe down there, obviously Sport in Carson and, and the team down there and the guys. Gotta give a shout out to Ohio State football right now. It looked well. It looked really well last night.
It didn't look too bad. Some would say that was a rough 2 weeks they had. And a lot of people were like, oh, is Ohio State getting a little soft? What's this all about?
Right.
And I don't know, John, bringing an SEC school there and kind of 42 17.
As long as you're not singing Rocky Top.
Rocky Top. And you know what, people? I love that song. And I think a lot of Ohio State fans might be getting sick of me, John, because on these places we go, I got to like everything else these other people do. I was singing Rocky Top. I was singing a little Left My Heart in Oregon. I was singing a little Shout,
Yeah. No. So, that, obviously Camp Randall, but as far as the shoe, the experience there is awesome. It's always been great. It will continue to grow, I think, get better. Just because again, as things evolve, you go see these other campuses, Oregon. Yeah. Just the experience out there and, flying into Portland and driving down. And again, just like you said earlier, the people we've met, the people we come in contact with, and that piece as well. Penn State out there, Happy Valley, had the opportunity to go check that place out. And so, I would just say those are some that, coming to my mind right away. There's some places that, I have not been. But again, it's just continuing looking in and going in there with the eyes wide open and saying, okay, how can I experience this? And how can you run into people and have conversations? Because again, as we mentioned earlier, we talk sports, we talk about people's fan bases. We talk about what they're loyal to, but I think you can use that as like a family, because it really does become a family. And we think about like who we're talking about and what we're doing. And I think about, our mission is, building a brotherhood. And I want people to understand is a brotherhood doesn't mean it has to be guys to guys. It can be girls to guys or girls to girls, whatever. But, one of the things that I really learned that, and I don't know if I ever told you or shared this with you, but when we were over in Hawaii for one of the bowl games, we got to go Pearl Harbor. And so where brotherhood came from is when they sunk the ship, and all those guys were together. They were classified as a brotherhood. And so there's oil that continues to leach out of that ship. And they said, until that is done, that is the tears of the brothers working together. And that really made me open my eyes, is like being there and seeing that and experience that is. And I go back to is, like we've said earlier, you wouldn't have those experiences if I never went to do that. And again, I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have those opportunities. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying is like, I think we all have opportunities, but sometimes we don't take advantage of them because it requires you to do something. It requires you to make a decision. But those things continue to open my eyes, and I continue to look around saying, okay, how do we build a stronger brotherhood with others that may not look like, feel like, seem like who we are. And I think when you go back to doing that, whether it's a family of who's together, whether it's a strange family, whether it's just people going through life and trying to figure out, like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And it's like, how do we continue to build that? And I'm excited about it. I really am. It's passion to me is how do we help people build them up and strengthen them? It's like, I don't know if you saw this now, but Travion, when he scored one of his touchdowns the other night. I
did see that, yeah.
What his message was.
Yeah, he did the sign language. It was Jesus loves you, right? Yep. Yeah, that was pretty sick and pretty, meaningful. Like Travion, all the Ohio State guys, like the faith that they brought to that the whole university has been fantastic. How many people did they baptize that one time?
I think it was 16 or something like that at church. Some of the guys went there and they just, hey, we're just talking and just having a conversation. And a number of the guys said, hey, I want to give my life and I want to, clear my mind and clear my heart, clear my soul, and let's get after it. And I think that's been so powerful for from me on the outside looking in, and I don't know truly what they have going on. I just hear a little bit as far as, their studies and their Bible studies and their talks and their conversations. But, you took up Travion, G. Scott, two of the leaders there getting together, but then you see some of the other guys and younger guys coming in like, wait a minute, what's going on this? Because again, is like we said earlier, not to repeat myself, but is you look at things and you try to say, okay, what's going to make me happy? And one of your boys, Deion Sanders.
Yes, sir.
He's talked a lot about that. He said, I looked for money to make me happy, didn't make me happy. Was it jewelry, didn't make me happy? Was it women, that didn't make me happy? The only true thing that really made him happy was when he found God. Mm-hmm. And it's like, once I found that and found my true calling, okay. Now you can agree or disagree with the guy. Obviously, he's got a vision and he's got a purpose and he lives that. And I think sometimes that makes people mad because when people find their purpose, people seem a lot happier, and it frustrates people because it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? And how do I get into something that they're doing?
Well, it's because people don't like uncommon things, and he took the uncommon route. I mean, a fantastic NFL career. Everyone loved him. He was a shiny guy and stuff, and then he goes on TV and does a lot of TV stuff, and people are like, oh, I mean, that's usually the route you take after your NFL career or whatever. Right. And he goes into coaching, and everyone's like, oh, this is different. This is weird. We can't let him be happy. We can't let him do this. And he goes to Jackson State, changes that whole culture. I mean, brings fans coming back there, brings a whole community there. Mm-hmm. And then, and people were like, what? This isn't usual. And then, I mean, he had success there. And people were like, oh, it's an HBCU. Then the job opens up at Colorado. He takes that. People are like, oh, well, he just left that school he was just at. And it's like, okay, so nothing this guy does, like, we'll be happy about, basically. Right. And he got Travis Hunter a 5-star. He wins the Heisman. People hate on that. His son is successful in college, won the quarterback of the year. People hate on that, saying he didn't. Nothing you can do sometimes can make people happy. Yeah. And I guess when you have haters, I mean, that means you're doing something right, though, right, John?
Maybe, yeah. And I think that to his point is, if you're here trying to please people, if you're here trying to make everybody happy, you're not going to make anybody happy. Mm-hmm. It's when you find that purpose of life and say, okay, God, what do you got me here for? What am I working for? What am I trying to become? Because when you find that groove and that line, again, we go back to, it's not going to be smooth. It's got to be easy because there's going to be people and there's going to be things that are trying to pull you off of that. But I think it's going to help make you like more fulfilled. And you go back to it. It's nice to have nice stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have a warm house. It's nice to have vehicles that run. It's nice to have clothes that fit. I get all that. Those are all necessities at times, but it's like also like, does that become what you're really looking towards? And I think Deion does a great job of that. I'm not gonna lie. I listen to his speeches. I listen to what he has to say because it's informative. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. Here's a guy that's been through the fire at a much higher level, potentially, than what we have. And how do you measure that, though? He's going through a level of like, okay, the media shows all this. And so, I don't know, keep looking, keep experiencing. I just think the growth opportunity is there. And excited about it. But I don't know. What are we looking to do here in the next month? I mean, what is something that we should try to do? I mean, we want to get the people involved. We don't just make this about us.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
We're looking for options and opportunities to get out there. So what should we be looking for?
A lot of people, struggle daily with different stuff they're going through. And I guess for me, like we were just talking about all the service projects we do, helping people out as much as we can, going and doing service projects. Also at the same time, John, I guess I want people to, witness what I got to witness with, you're talking about brotherhood. I want people to like really witness like what we've done with, the workout groups and like, even like going on these service projects. We made a lot of like, we've met nice people and we've made relationships with each other from it. I honestly really want people to like witness what we've gone through and workout crews, this and that. And I think that'd be great for people within the next month, though. Send us, email, send us, you got John's phone number, maybe my phone number, text, Instagram, Facebook page, any of that, and just just let us know what you need and how we can help y'all. I don't know.
No, I agree, and that's what I want our presence to be to them is like we want to involve you, in us, and so we need your help to give us ideas and thoughts like, hey, how can we come out? Maybe it's moving something. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's moving somebody or cleaning something out. We've done a lot of that. We've moved a lot of people. And it's always good because there's just stories within that. And so if there's something, moving something, lifting something, or maybe you just need to have a breakfast, let us know. We'll come have breakfast and chit chat and have a conversation and carry it on, because we'd love to help people. And I think that's what helps find us, our story, but also helps our purpose grow. And we'd love to continue to grow that. And I think that's, I said the next month, like Jaden said, hey, if you got anything going on, if you got anything you need, maybe you just need, hey, this conversation was good for me. I needed to hear more of it. Let us know, because again, I'm going to say I'm not perfect and we're continuing to grow this and learn through it, but we want to be able to connect and utilize what we can to help people out.
Yeah. And as we finish up this episode, I will ask you, John, right now, you're wearing cowboy boots, jeans, you're wearing what is that shirt? So it's
this was one of the mental health shirts from back, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago from St. Croix Central High School. They had a mental health thing going on. It was something as far as I saw some kids going through some challenges and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I support that. And so the reason again tonight is I wore the shirt. It was about mental health. Okay. The boots, hey, I'm a grassroots guy as far as let's get to work. Let's get after it. Normally I'm in tennis shoes and shorts, but I don't know if people realize, again, we talked a little bit about, but farming is something I do, along with teaching. So yeah, let's get at it.
And you've been farming for a while, but I will say you're going to LA next week, John. How are you going to handle LA? How are you going to do it? I'm worried for you right now.
Well,
John.
I've been coast to coast this year, man. I spent a couple days out in New York and then, John Zink, you got to meet him this weekend. So
great guy.
Yeah. John was showing me around out there and he's teaching me how to drive New York style. And so it's gonna be interesting to compare how you drive LA style to New York style. But no, John's a great guy, and hopefully he can catch his podcast as well. But shout out to John and his family. And it's good. It's it'll be interesting. You take the guy off the farm and let's see what happens, huh?
Yeah, you're kind of hating on me for loving the fanny pack. I said I might have to rock a fanny pack. I was like, oh, don't rock up your fanny pack, all that stuff. But excited for that. That's going to be a fun trip. Going back, though, when this comes out, the vlog of the Tennessee game will probably be out. That was crazy. Check that out. Fights were happening. It was loud. It was great. Rocky Top was always playing. Fun Tennessee fans. Shout out to the Hawley family and to the Lamers family. Big Tennessee fans. Shout out. Great people in Tennessee, though. So check that out. And
we should have some Tennessee people invite us down. We could come down there and we could actually have a conversation down there with some of the people down there. Because one of the things as far as the hurricane that went through, it would be awesome to go down there and check that out.
It would be. And Tennessee fans, like really nice Southern people. Great. And just like the down south, the people, just fantastic.
It's not that far south. Man. Come on.
I mean, tennis, SEC, everything's down south in the SEC. Don't play with me. But John, lead us off. You got some words of wisdom to let the viewers know one last time?
I don't have anything that comes to my mind right now other than talking about, like I said, Tony Dungy was talking about earlier, is, challenges are going to happen. That's part of life, and try to focus on what can be good, what the good can come out of that. Not just look at what the bad can come out of that. I was having a conversation earlier today with somebody about that is, it's so easy to look at all the things that could go wrong, but what could come right out of that? And I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, what could come right out of whatever decision you make? It could spin sideways in a heartbeat. Things go wrong, could challenge, it could go wrong. I get that. But what could come right out of that? And so I think it's one of the things that really want to challenge myself on in the next week is, okay, in a different situation, what can go right out of this? I get it. Getting up and doing whatever can all go wrong, but what can be right about that? And so, I appreciate you, dude. As Christmas time rolls around here in the next couple of days, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays and a Happy New Year. I look forward to getting back. Look forward to sharing some information about our next trip. But again, folks, if there's anything that we can do, please do not hesitate. And no matter what, the biggest thing is we say we can't make it happen, but hey, let's try. Let's try and see what we can do, because I think I know that's one of our biggest things that we need to do. We need to get out. We want to serve. We want to help. And we want to get back. And we're going to get some swag going there, get some stuff out. We are a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit. So we just want to get out and help people and make connections and see what kind of change we can make in the world. And we're not going to impact everybody, but we can impact one person at a time, so we're doing good things. Yeah, exactly. For a purpose right now, steadily growing. Keep doing it. It's not just a podcast. We've said that multiple times, but it's just going to keep growing. Or podcast, trying to just like reach more people and hear more stories and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you all for listening again. Posting this on every Thursday. Follow the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter accounts, everything. Keep in touch for everything. For more news, go watch the vlog.